Progressives, this is your trigger warning. From PJ Media, why a hung jury is likely in the Trump case. There shows a picture there, Trump with his lawyers in court. They've been tying him up now, what is it, a couple of months now, keeping him off the campaign trail. And there's bogus and ridiculous charges in New York of the business falsification, and it's just how they stretched a misdemeanor into a felony from a federal law that was never prosecuted. And you know all the rest, rather than go into all the details. Let's see what this opinion piece on why he thinks going to be a hung jury, and let's check it out. For those of you that are new to my channel, this channel's been suppressed a little bit by this website. So if you could check that subscribe button and watch some of the longer versions of videos that I have, not the shorts, I would really and truly appreciate it, because watch time is what's going to get me monetized, and we can get around what they're trying to do. Enough of self-plugging. Let's move on. It's been clear from the beginning that Donald Trump being acquitted in this criminal trial in New York City is unlikely. Yeah, we know that. What is it, 90-something, 80-something, 88% are registered Democrats in Manhattan? The entire process was designed to achieve a conviction, not a fair trial. That's also true. The prosecutor is a source-funded leftist who campaigned on getting Trump. That's also true. The judge is a Biden donor. It's also true. And finally, the jurisdiction is so heavily liberal that it would be nearly impossible to get an unbiased jury. Also, by the way, what they forgot to mention is the current judge's daughter received millions and millions of dollars legally from the Democrats putting together online fundraising videos for them. For the past few weeks, District Attorney Alvin Bragg's case has imploded as each of his key witnesses has undermined his case. Even left-wing experts, there's an oxymoron, have admitted as much and have suggested as such that Trump will likely be acquitted. But as George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley, who actually is a Democrat, but he'll only be seen mostly on Fox and other right-leaning because he tells the truth. Originally, this is Turley talking, originally vaguely referenced 4 crimes, and there have been months of confusion as to what he was specifically alleging as criminal theories. Even legal analysts on CNN, MSNBC have continued to question the specific allegations against Trump as we head into closing arguments. Supposedly the thing is he committed a misdemeanor crime, but then it became a felony when he tried to cover it up from a election violation, which caused it to be a felony, which is a real legal stretch, because there was another crime that occurred that he tried to cover up. As yet, and the trial is over, closing arguments are coming, as of yet, they have not said what that underlying crime was. How could you be on trial for something you don't even know what the crime was? As it stands, there are 3 crimes that have been referenced by prosecutors: state and federal election violations and taxation violations. But they don't say specifically what they are. Bragg's legal vision for non-objective indictments was greatly advanced by Judge Juan Merchan, who is the sitting judge here, who will allow the jury to reach different rulings on what crime is actually evident in Bragg's paint splatters. Merchan has even ruled that the jurors can disagree on what actually occurred in terms of the second crime. That means there could be 3 groups of 4 jurors, with one believing there was a conspiracy to conceal an election violation, another believing there was an election violation which Bragg cannot enforce because it's federal, and a third believing there was a tax violation, respectively. Nonetheless, Merchan will treat that as unanimous verdict. So in other words, one said you were guilty of the federal tax violation. We'll say 4 out of the 12 picked that. One picks guilty conspiracy to conceal a state election violation, and 4 jurors pick there was a tax violation. All different charges, but they all count on the same unanimous verdict. I've never even heard of that before. Have you? Unbelievable. They can send Trump to prison on their interpretations of the law and not being lawyers. Truly knows that Bragg's key witness, Michael Cohen, is a convicted perjurer whose credibility is questionable at best. Then there was the fact that non-disclosure agreements, also called NDAs, are common and perfectly legal in both business and politics. Then he explained that the jury will be instructed that payments aren't campaign contributions if they would be made regardless of the campaign. The defense must also clarify that Trump didn't classify the payments as legal expenses. This was done by others in the Trump organization and Cohen, reflecting standard practice to payments for lawyers. Still, the deck has been stacked against Trump. It's not just a partisan prosecutor, judge, and jury, but even the jury instructions seem to be tailor-made to ensure a conviction. But Turley still believes a hung jury is likely. Turley's a really smart guy. You can throw paint on Cohen all day. Will not cover up the fact that he is a pathological liar and a grifter, and went to jail for lying under oath, been convicted of it, and said he lies all the time under oath for his own personal gain. Turley writes, this is why I believe that a hung jury might even be the most likely possibility. That may change when we see Judge Merchant's final instructions. However, the only thing worse in New York than being a Trump supporter is being a chump. To rely solely on Cohen and not even call someone like Weisselberg is to play these jurors as chumps. That's a election contribution expert that the judge refused the defense to put on the stand to say that it wasn't a federal law. You didn't break federal law with the NDA. It's how do you refuse an expert in the field of the crime you're trying to prosecute? So I think that's what's going to happen. I think so too. And the other side of that coin is, do you want to be the individual? Say you're the only one on the jury that votes not guilty. 11 say guilty, 1 says not guilty, has to be unanimous, and it's a hung jury. Now, eventually that person's name will be doxed, as they say. Those of you that are older, doxing means it'll go out on the social media, what your name is and where you live and where you work or your business and all that stuff, and basically destroy your life. Are these people going to say guilty because they're going to be held hostage and their life will be ruined? This is New York. Yeah, a lot of New Yorkers are arrogant. A lot of New Yorkers think they're right no matter what. But as he said, they don't like to be chumps. They don't like to be played. So we're going to have to see. I think that Brooklyn rally that Trump had with 35,000 odd people gave a little bit of breathing room to a juror that wants to say not guilty. They all know this is a farce. Even the most Trump derangement syndrome juror on there knows this is a farce, but they don't care because they hate Trump's guts. The end justifies the means. Well, that's not our standard of jurisprudence in this country, or at least it's not supposed to in theory. It's like they used to do in the South in the old days, where you had a black man convicted, or at least on trial for a heinous crime, and you give him an all-white jury. Say in 1952 in Alabama. How do you think that's going to turn out? But it's okay if they do it in Manhattan in 2024. Granted, it's not race-related, but it's ideology-related. This is Manhattan, one of the centers of progressive people in the country, maybe even the world. So, will he get 1 or 2? And here's the thing. Say one juror, we'll use one juror. One juror says not guilty. They're going to say 11 out of 12 said he was guilty. So he is guilty. Even if it's a hung jury, the left media is going to say, look, this is ridiculous. What is 1/12? 8.5%? So over 90% of the jurors thought he was guilty. And that's all they're going to focus on. And that plus the fact they're going to ruin the life, or try to, of the individual that voted not guilty. Maybe this person doesn't have a lot to lose. Maybe they're insulated from social media and people going after them and their job and so forth. Maybe so. We'll have to see. But to get a fair trial for Trump in Manhattan is a dream. Just like I said, 1952 Alabama, a young black man is on trial for a heinous crime with an all-white jury. The progressives would be screaming, and rightfully so. But it's okay if they do it, because to them, going against the Constitution, going against the rule of law, cheating in who can put on stand in your defense, all those things that are wrong, they know are wrong, but to them, the end justifies the means. And that, folks, is a very, very dangerous road to walk. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.